When you tell people that you are a correctional psychologist, what is their first reaction?
Most people see it as very negative because of the types of crimes that have been committed and by whom. Okay? And they wonder, why should you help somebody who has killed? Why should you help somebody who has stolen? Why should you help somebody who has robbed somewhere or has committed a sexual offense? So it's more of, why would you help somebody who deserves to be put behind bars?
I've seen people preaching, always turn prisons to correctional centers.
Yes.
Do you feel like that is being practiced?
Good. I feel like currently they are correctional facilities because at least they have counselors inside. They have programs that help in the rehabilitation process. Like we have individual therapies, we have group sessions, we have trainings. I mean, those are not there back then when they were just called prisons. So currently I can see that they are.
Why is correctional center an important space for some people?
It's not an easy place to survive because it's quite harsh, because it really tries to remove you from that mental space of thinking that, I can do things as I want, as opposed to I can do things considering someone else. So it teaches you to be self-aware, it teaches you to be compassionate, it teaches you to be disciplined, things that if your parents don't teach you, it will force you to be taught in a place like that. And
I warmly invite you to subscribe to our YouTube podcast, Modern Day Campfire, where we advocate for mental health through a powerful lens of visual arts and meaningful conversation. This platform is a safe space for reflection, expression, and healing. Created with care and authenticity, your support not only spreads the awareness, but also strengthens a growing community that values compassion, creativity, and open dialogue. Join us today in this journey. You are welcome here. Thank you. Hello, wonderful humans. Welcome to Modern Day Campfire by your host, Martin Sambia, where we advocate for mental health through visual arts and talks. And today, our magnificent guest is Elizabeth Ogalo. Welcome, Elizabeth.
thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to host you in this. It is going to be a very, very new topic in this podcast. And before I go there, how will you best describe yourself?
Thank you so much, Martin, for the invite. I'm very humbled to be here. So I would best describe myself as a very humble person, someone who believes in God. I am a last one. I come from a family of four, raised by a father who is a pastor and my mom was a nurse. And I am a correctional counseling psychologist. I did my undergrad at African Nazarene, and my journey began when I stepped into my first correctional facility, which is as a student, and that's when I fell in love with, I don't know if I'm using the right term, but I started to gain an interest in wanted to know more about the individuals living behind us. So, yes.
Yeah, thank you for that. For today, we are going to talk about why prisoners, and in this topic, we are going to address mental health in prison. And what will you promise our viewer, who maybe is joining us at the moment, to be able to gain by the end of this conversation?
Maybe what I would try my best to do is to encourage you to see them as human beings and not by the crime that took them in. So that is what I can maybe hope that will maybe change their mindsets when they watch this video and try to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Thank you. When you tell people that you are a correctional psychologist, what is their first reaction?
To be honest, most people don't even know there's a term called correctional counseling psychologist. They wonder, what do you mean? People have their own views regarding correctional facilities. Mainly, it is negative because of the way the media portrays it and the people inside, and also the so, societal stereotypes. So the perspective comes down to an individual. Uh, Most people see it as very negative because of the types of crimes that have been committed and by whom. Okay? And they wonder, why should you help somebody who has killed? Why should you help somebody who has stolen? Why should you help somebody who has robbed somewhere or has committed a sexual offense? So it's more of, why would you help somebody who deserves to be put behind bars? Some see it as positive. Some admire and say, wow, that's a line that, it takes a very strong person to take that word. Some wonder, so what are you doing exactly with them? For those who have never entered correctional facilities, they want to take this as their chance to step in and see how it looks like, to see how the people look like. But the main perception which the public have is and concern that they would have for people who work in correctional facilities, especially counselors, is our safety and the danger that maybe it can impose on us who try to go and help. So I think it just stems from a point of lack of information. Because
Thank you for that, Elizabeth. That is well put. And the way you're talking, you're talking from a point of empathy. And I'm just curious, why that path? Is this empathy, you got it out of being in that world, or it came first and then it put you to that world of being a correctional psychologist?
That's a good question. I believe that naturally I am an empathetic person, but I don't think I had empathy towards them before I entered a correctional facility as a counselor. So this passion started when I entered into my first correctional facility. That's when the way they treated me gave me a different view of how they are, and it made me realize that, wow, so there is life and love can still be shown in the most undeserved individual. And from there, I just said, I want to work with these people and I want to give them an identity uh, as they continue to serve their sentences. Yeah.
And for some reason, do you think it has shaped who you are as an individual? The way you show up now to your relationships, maybe with your family, your partner or friends. Has it changed something, or how has it shaped you?
It has changed a lot because you can never come out the same once you enter a correctional facility, whether it's just as a visitor, whether it's as an inmate, or just as a student going there for their internship or attachment. It has shaped me a lot from how I think, how I see things, and how I take very seriously a destructive attitude. The problem with individuals is that they underestimate a destructive attitude. And so, me knowing where that can take me, I would not really condone it for myself or condone it in someone else.
And
Yes.
what do you mean when you say they underestimate a destructive attitude?
I mean, you might be having a habit which is very destructive,
Mhm.
very it's a habit which is not good for your progress, positive progress,
Mhm.
and you just entertain it as if it's something that will go away on its own. And bad habits never go away on their own. You have to work towards removing them from your system, from your mind,
Mhm.
because it's something that has been there with you for quite a long time.
Mhm.
So that's what I mean by a destructive behavior, a behavior that will not keep you out of prison. It will eventually lead you into a correctional
Mhm.
facility.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. That is well put. And from your experience,
Mhm.
what is I know? Like maybe I don't know, but I'm just curious too. Like from your experience, do you think have you noticed that they share something in common?
Mhm.
What is one thing you kind of feel like they all share in common?
Good question. Um, if there's one thing I've noticed my very good friends back at correctional facility share
Mhm.
is childhood
Mhm.
trauma. They all come from somewhere and someone did something to them
Mhm.
that now led them to having to find a way to cope with their issues, having to find a way to express their issues, maybe not in a good manner that now led them into correctional facilities.
Mhm.
So the way a child is brought up matters a lot.
Uh-huh.
And it shows a lot when you're even interacting with them and finding out what happened that brought them into correctional facility. And you find out there's always something about where they came from.
Mhm.
So that's something that is very common. Even for those who are not in correctional facilities and they have issues, you always trace it back to home. So that's one common thing that I noticed they also have when you interact with them on a close level.
Mhm. Yeah, and thank you for that again. And I'm just curious. I've seen people preaching, always turn prisons to correctional centers.
Yes,
Do you feel like that is being practiced? I've seen people preaching, always turn prisons to correctional centers.
yes,
Do you feel like that is being practiced?
good.
Mhm.
I feel I feel like currently they are correctional facilities because at least they have counselors inside.
Mhm.
They have programs that help in the rehabilitation process.
Mhm.
Like we have individual therapies, we have group sessions, we have trainings. I mean, those are not there back then
Mhm.
when they were just called prisons.
Mhm.
So, currently I can see that they are correctional facilities because of the fact that they have brought on board counselors who are able to assist the prisoners with their issues and their stay because some of them have been given very long sentences and they have anxiety issues. So who will attend to them if it's not the counselors?
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. And have you like, do you have an inmate that you've interacted with, or you are their psychologist and you kind of impacted the program that you had implemented
Mhm.
kind of impacted their life? And do you mind maybe sharing with us that story
Mhm.
of how, like, what they turned from to?
Okay. Um, while I did my internship, I had interacted with actually many inmates that I was doing counseling with, and I also started some group for drug abuse,
Mhm.
and we started as few members, but with time it grew, and many have graduated
Mhm.
from that, and that's for me is a milestone because people don't just come out and attend those group meetings. They're called AA meetings. They don't just attend them. So for people to keep on coming and the numbers growing, for me that is good. And there's one story that stood out. Maybe after we had done sessions with this with this individual, they came back and said that, when I came to you, I was not seeing. But after the session, now I can see. There's a way that, of course, I'm not a healer.
Okay.
I'm not a healer, but only he knows what he meant by when he said that now I can see. Maybe he was seeing, but not so clearly. Okay? At times, you just need someone to sit and just listen. Not everyone wants a response. Some people just want you to listen. And so I remember him saying that, no, I was not seeing. I don't know what he meant exactly because he was not blind. He was seeing the way I'm seeing you right now. But I think what he meant was I can now see things clearly. Yes. And he was so excited that I actually assisted him. He was not young, he was a bit elderly, and he was very grateful for. So to me, I'm not a healer. God is the ultimate healer, yeah. But for me to hear that at least I helped someone to feel like they have a chance to see things clearly, it made my day. Yeah.
Yeah, that is impressive. Yeah, that is impressive. And do you normally have like two self-cares that you normally teach them that it's impacting their life, or how does your program look like?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe earlier I had not shared that I'm also a CEO of
Okay.
my own foundation. I'm sorry that I hadn't touched on that. And the foundation is called Adenil. Adenil means reclamation. It's a word in Welsh. And so Adenil acts as a mirror to try to reclaim the dignity and identity of those in incarceration, regardless of the crime committed. And so we do this by one, counseling programs, two, talent shows, three, by paying for their fines. Because you see, you can also reclaim someone's dignity and identity by helping them to come out. Yeah? So when I pay for your fine, I give you a chance to reclaim that dignity as a man, as a father, as a brother. And I mostly work with the male inmates, and so that's how I try to help them to reach where they need to be. Because once you become a prisoner, your identity as a man goes down. The society doesn't see you as a father figure. That doesn't see you as someone that can change the world. Yeah? Actually, they see you as someone who can't do anything good. So we come in as Adenil and try to change that narrative while you're inside there. For us, we believe in helping you to remember your position in society while you're inside there, so that you learn to be you while inside before you come out. And like starting to remember that you are a man when you have already been released from prison. That won't work much. But if we start to teach you how to be a good man, how to know how to treat people outside there, how to know how to treat your wife, your mother, your sister, how to tame your anger, how to tame your sexual urges as a man. If we start to train you while inside there, it is more impactful than when you wait and do it when you're outside. Because once you're outside, we don't have a hold of you, and it's very hard to find you. Because when you're out and you're trying to find your way around the world, which you were not, in for a long time because you were kept there in the facility. So yeah, so that's what we do. And talent shows are also a very good way for somebody to express how they feel. You're a man, and you know that it's very hard for men to speak. So we give them the platform of expressing through music. They can write their songs and express it through music. They can play instruments, like when you play it, it calms down your stress levels
Mm-hmm.
because you're keeping your mind busy. Music is also, is what I think it's soothes the soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
It does, yeah. So we try to, use the talent show platform to help to reducing stress levels, to help them to express the things that they find hard to express, and also it helps them to also give God the glory because when they showcase their talents, they're showing to people outside here that even if I'm bound physically, but the talents that God gave me, I can still use them while I'm here to give Him glory.
Yeah. Thank you for that again. And I believe there is a viewer who is still maybe struggling to understand maybe prison, and I will just give you an honor to take us through maybe the structure, because you've said majorly you've been to men and maximum prison. So like, what are the levels, and could you kindly maybe take us through?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have medium prisons
Mm-hmm.
and we have maximum prison. Of course, we have juvenile as the as the one for children that's below the age of 18.
Okay.
Then you have medium prisons. So medium prisons are for individuals who have sentences less than 10 years. The maximum are for individuals who have sentences beyond 10 years. Yes. And most people who are in maximum prisons have committed um, ca- capital offenses, sexual offenses. Yeah. Medium, you find wale labda wame iba kuku, the touts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the petty offenders. And yeah.
Yeah. And why do you prefer, like, you, it's okay, oh bless you, if you are like between male and women, have you been in a position of working with women also?
Mm.
What was the difference if you were to compare the two?
The difference to me is the level of appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like the male inmates appreciate people more. Maybe that was my experience. I felt like the men really appreciated how much I I valued them. I saw humanity in them as much as it's not the first thing you will see in them, but they are really appreciative of the small things that that you do and the fact that you listen to them, and not judge them because everyone has a story at the end of it. It doesn't matter the gender, but a lot of the men are crucified more than the females, just because they are seen to not have feelings. But they have feelings, and that's why they're inside there. Because for you to commit a crime, it means you have some sort of
Motive.
yes, and motive comes from feelings. Yes. So I enjoy working with male prisoners because of the fact that they're very appreciative of the smallest things that you do. People don't realize that even a tissue is a luxury in prison. And if you take that even to a prisoner, you will be their friend for a very long time because that's a luxury. A tissue which someone just throws around and outside here, but inside there, that's a luxury because it's not easy to get it. And it's only, those who maybe come from backgrounds who have it that maybe can have some, but most, they rely on well wishers to come and give them tissues, soaps, and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
And do we have like follow-up programs maybe after the inmates have been given freedom? Like, you talked of us, maybe of Adenine, working on giving them back their identity while they are in there. And do we have like a follow-up program after that? And is it important to have one?
It's a good question. It's very important to have follow-up programs. As Adenine, we haven't started to do that. We are first dealing with those who are inside. Then maybe with time we'll extend it to those who have been released. But reintegration process is very key. Because for us to be able to reduce the rate of something called recidivism, I don't know if you know what that means.
I don't
It
know.
means it is the risk of an ex prisoner repeating the same offense or another
Mhm.
offense or committing another offense. So reintegration process is very key because that is where now we are able to help this individual to not relapse
Mhm.
back into a state where it brings them back to it takes them back to a correctional facility.
Mhm.
So it is very key, and there are other NGOs that have been doing it, like Faraja Foundation has been doing it, and they did a very good job.
Mhm.
Of course, there are others, Clean Start and other also NGOs that do it. So the people who do it, but for Adenum, we have not yet reached there, but we're hoping that with time we will.
Mhm.
Yeah, but our main focus is to just try to uh, gain back the identity and dignity of uh, of the prisoners while they're in the correctional facilities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do believe there are people who, in there, prisoners who maybe have been incarcerated for the rest of their life, and there is lack of hope here.
Mm.
So how, like, I still don't understand how maybe talent show
Mm-hmm.
can still bring. Does it have impact, and at what level?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I'm still trying to get that. Like, I know, like, I'm not never going to get out of this place for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
and I'm pursuing music,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reasons I know it's gonna just be
Mm-hmm.
limited in here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does hope play a role there?
Mm-hmm. Now I know sometimes someone can be given a sentence that you say, here I'm not coming out. But with God, anything is possible. If you work on yourself and you follow the right protocol, in terms of trying to help, to work on your case and all that, anyone can be released.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, talent shows are good because it's a stress-free zone.
Mm-hmm.
And if this is done on a frequent basis, it helps to reduce the stress levels. And so by it reducing the stress levels, it becomes easier for the rehabilitation process to take place.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the person becomes more open to counseling, yeah, because they're in a good mood,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have any grudges,
Mm-hmm.
because they're free, because they're always expressing themselves. I had said that a talent show or a talent or them participating in talent shows is a good way of expressing themselves. So if when they know how to express themselves in a positive manner, it becomes easier for us as correctional counseling psychologists to assist them
Mm-hmm.
in their journey of rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is very impactful because it brings down the stress levels, and that's the aim.
Mm-hmm.
Because knowing that you're in there for 100 years, 40 years, or even just 5 years, it's quite long.
Yeah.
Not being able to to have your phone, your laptop, the freedom of just speaking and running, and
Mm-hmm.
doing the things that you love.
Buying meals when you want to.
Exactly, exactly. Or just having something to keep your mind busy that reduces those thoughts, negative thoughts, and replaces them with positive thoughts is very impactful. It can keep someone alive for a very long time, and it can also bring them closer to God. Because you see, time is also bringing you closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
Because you end up realizing that, yes, as I said, I'm physically bound, but mentally I'm free. I'm free. I can still use my talents. I don't have to be outside there to sing,
Mm-hmm.
to praise God or to create music of impact. I can still do it even when I'm not able to reach out to the world, but I can do it from where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So talents are very important because they really, really do help in the rehabilitation process because it increases their oxytocins, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the feel good hormone,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. And the work you're doing, it's fully based on nurturing. And I do believe maybe there are inmates who sometimes might get attached to you as an individual or confuse it with love, with romantic love. So how do you normally avoid that from happening, or when it happens, how do you normally handle that? And have you ever been in that type of a situation?
I think I have. I think I have. Which is very normal. As I said, they are human beings, so they are allowed to feel attracted to somebody. But with counseling, we have ethics that we are bound to. So we normally say it as we are contracting the session, and we say that in case you start to see me in another angle, which will not be helpful for this session, let me know so that we can terminate and edify you to someone else. Because you see, once your client starts to like you, it now shifts their focus on the emotions of like, instead of their emotions of what has brought them there to you. So we just find a way of saying it politely, and if it's not possible for them to understand it, then you just have to refer the client to another counselor who will help them better, because there's so many outside here anyway who can still do the same job even better.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, but it must be hard, because I know there are people who maybe have never experienced that form of care, and determination can just lead to another form of depression.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but we just keep on praying for them, and yeah, we just hope for the best. And what is one myth you used to believe in before you stepped in to the correctional center?
Okay. I think I had. Let me just mention a few.
Please do.
Before I mention the biggest myth. While I used to think that, I think I got this notion from movies that prisoners are chained from the legs, hands, and that they walk with shields to cover their faces because they're really bad people.
Dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. So I used to think that when I enter into a correctional facility, I'll find people, all of them, looking like that. Another myth was that I'd find them looking at you in a very weird manner, like in a very scary manner. Like, it's like they want to just pound on you the next minute. And that's not the case. And then now the biggest myth is that they do not change, or they don't have a chance to change. That's the biggest myth, because nobody is not able to change. The difference is you have to choose whether you want to change or not. So behavior learned can be unlearned and relearned. So it's possible for an individual in a correctional facility to change. Nothing is impossible. Yes. Yeah.
And how do you handle maybe sympathy and empathy, and what are the difference, and which one is more crucial when handling the inmates?
Okay. Uh, Sympathy is not putting yourself in the person's shoes. Um, it is, like they say it in Swahili, inikumhurumia. You're feeling sorry for them, but you're not feeling it with them. There's a difference. Yeah, like you're not putting yourself in their shoes. But empathy is putting yourself in their shoes. Like when I'm telling you my story, you're trying to put yourself in my shoes to understand me better. Yeah.
And which one is more advice, and what are the disadvantages of the other one, which is not advice?
Sympathy is temporal because you will only it will only help you for that moment. When they're speaking to you, you're there feeling sorry for them, but it has no progress. because it's just you feeling sorry and
for
going.
them. But it is needed at some point. The sympathy, is it needed?
It's needed, but it should not be used as a way of
Pro-
progress, because it can't bring progress.
Progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of counseling, it can't bring progress. But empathy can, because when you put yourself in the other's shoes, there's a way you can see where they went wrong and what they can do about it. And so empathy is needed when you're dealing with prisoners, because you need to understand where they came from, how they got to where they are, who played a part in their in their arrest and all that. Because with that you see things soberly and you're able to guide them through dealing with whatever is bothering them. Some of them are not being bothered by the sentences. Some are being bothered by the fact that they have left their families outside there. Maybe the man who's the breadwinner, now he's inside. So he's worried about how his children will go to school. So you see, a sympathy there will not help. But empathy will help, because now you will try to see, okay, this is what is happening. So how can we come in as Adeni, assist with such a situation? So I don't know if I'm making a bit of sense.
You've approached it well.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious. Have you ever been in a situation where you interacted with someone or people who have find peace in that world?
In the world of being inside.
Inside, yeah.
Yes, there are some people who say, I would rather stay here than go back to where I was from.
And is it like, okay, there are two types of peace. There is this peace in someone who believes that everything that is happening for some reason is beyond their control. Now they just have to make the most out of it. And there are those people who may be outside. It was worse circumstance compared to inside. So like, I'm just curious too. You can share with us for both cases.
Okay. I think maybe I can just answer it in a general way. You see, when you find an inmate saying that they would rather prefer staying here, one, staying in prison means you don't have to pay for things. Wewe unalishwa, so it's somehow an easy life, compared to, that can be a reason why
someone will prefer,
because you're peaceful in terms of, like you're not taking money from your pocket, but also it can be as a way of running away from what you don't want to face. Maybe where you come from, there's a lot of chaos, and maybe those are the only family you have. And so you will no longer just prefer to stay inside and not have to deal with them ever again. Or you can find someone saying that they prefer to be inside there because of how they are. They know that probably they're not able to change. So they don't want to cause harm to anyone else. So they just say, you know what, I'd rather stay here so that I don't cause harm to anyone else. So those are the three maybe reasons why I could give that. Because you see, it's quite peaceful when you know you're not going to cause harm to someone else. If you know you don't have control over your actions and you decide to stay at a place where it is heavily restricted, you will feel peaceful because no one will blame you for anything. So it's not a place that is peaceful, to be honest, but it can bring peace if you know that you are a destructive individual that maybe is out of control and needs to be tamed. So the peace is not only for you but also for anyone else around you, or the people outside there. Yeah, so the peace is not only for the person inside, the individual themselves, but it's also for anyone else outside there that maybe knows them, even those that don't know them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that is well put. And you as an individual, there is a lot of compassion here, and I feel like after consuming all that, I do believe you do experience fatigue. So how do you normally handle it? Do you normally go for a therapy, or you have like self-care routine to recharge and decompress? How do you handle that?
I haven't really experienced fatigue so much because I'm not always with them. But when I do experience it, I choose to take a break. Yeah, I can just decide to just take a break and just find a place and recharge. Yeah. I also like to just be around individuals that have gone through the same thing as me. Like find my mentors, sit with them, share with them my challenges of working in correctional facilities. That also helps me because they will encourage you because they have been there, they have passed through the same thing. So at least it gives you the hope that you will make it. So one way I do it is to recharge. Two, I find my mentors and I share my experiences with them. Therapy is also important. Though I haven't really looked for it since I started to deal with the prisoners, but it's something that needs to be done over and over again. Like it's a priority, and so yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. And as we are winding up, I will just want you to share something about inmates that you believe majority of people out there, they don't know about inmates, but from your experience, it is something that you had to relearn and unlearn. Yeah, what are those things about inmates that we get wrong?
There's one thing about inmates that people keep on mistaking is that you assume that they're not human beings. And yes, they are, because they look like you and me. Uh, they have eyes like you and me, nose, mouth, it's just a normal human being. And but you see now, what makes them be different is the crime that they committed, that maybe makes someone to see them less of a human being. But the truth is, they're human beings like me and you, and they need all the encouragement they can get. Also, it makes it a bit difficult for us to even make a difference in their lives if the society keeps on using dehumanizing languages. You know? Because words are powerful.
True.
And the more you're negative towards yourself or towards other people, it starts to interfere with the treatment and rehabilitation process. Because if I'm trying to reclaim someone's dignity, someone's identity, and you come in and keep on saying that this person is nobody, this is not someone deserving of love, then you interrupt my process of trying to give them that love, give them that encouragement, give them that affirmation that regardless of what they have done, they're still a man, and they need to maintain that position. So they are seen as less human beings, and it's not true. They are human beings who just found themselves on the wrong side of the law, and now they're inside there for correctional purposes. Yes, not for them to be seen as less. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Me too, I happened to be, there was a project we did, and I was also in a certain correctional center, and then I started interacting, like how meaningful words like raia, like yeah, like I met like that. I guess that was the first time I was interacting with that word raia, and sisi kama raia, maybe we do have our loved ones who are inmates, yeah, and maybe for some reason we don't get why they had to take that path, like why, like we don't understand the importance of correctional centers because it is our loved ones. We felt like we could handle them. So what will you advise us? What will you like in terms of like why is correctional center an important space for some people?
Now, I think it's good for people to understand that correctional centers or facilities are very important because they help to try to unlearn these bad habits that we have that are destroying our lives slowly by slowly. So it is like a second chance. It is like the savior of the lost. And so it is very important because some of us cannot undo these behaviors until we're taken to places like this. And it's not an easy place to survive because it's quite harsh, because it really tries to remove you from that mental space of thinking that, I can do things as I want, as opposed to I can do things considering someone else. So it teaches you to be self-aware. It teaches you to be compassionate. It teaches you to be disciplined. Things that if your parents don't teach you, it will force you to be taught in a place like that. And that's a place that parents should really, really avoid their children from getting in. And the only way you can do that is by disciplining and trying to show them the right path to go. And as a parent, it is good for you to be that role model. Be that role model and show your kids that this is the way you should be. It's good to be kind to people. It's good to apologize when you do wrong to somebody, even when you're not seeing what you've done. Apology is not only for what you see or what you agree to. No, no, no. Apology is to be given because you care. So if I did you wrong and I don't see where or even how I hurt you, as long as I care about you, I should apologize. But these days, you realize people apologize when they see they're wrong. Yeah? And that's where the problem is, because when you don't apologize, you don't know how much pain you have caused to that individual. You don't know their level of temperament. Yeah? We have also cases of killings because you hurt someone and you assume you've done nothing. And you said you leave the person with a very huge wound and it's painful. And because maybe they are not taught how to express themselves in a positive manner, they now retaliate. And in this process of retaliating, they end up being taken to prison. And so you see, an innocent person becomes very bad because they were not taught to express themselves properly. So I would just say that correctional facilities are necessary to help to deal with destructive behaviors and to make the society a better place, because when they go in, we believe that they should come out better, so that they go and teach those people who don't know where their destructive behaviors can take them. Yes.
Thank you again,
Thank you.
Elizabeth. Yeah, that is profound, and I'm just happy. It was a new topic on my end, mental health in prison, and I'm just happy because you are the right guest for this. Yeah. So in modern day Campfire, we do have a culture whereby like the last guest leaves a question for the next guest. So our last guest was Mageto, and this is the question that he left for you.
For me?
Yes.
So I should answer it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Should I also read the question?
Please do.
Who do I wish to be? I wish to be that individual that will leave a mark that can never be erased with correctional facilities. I wish to be that individual that everywhere she goes, somebody will know that she was selfless enough to go down to their level and listen to them and to make an impact, to try and regain the dignity and identity of these individuals that are very undeserving. So I would wish to be somebody who's going to leave a mark that can never be erased, no matter the centuries that come. Yeah.
What a legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a good way of looking at it.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, thank you again. Yeah, and thank you, my viewers, for your never-ending support. You are part of the reason we keep on doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, maybe through my personal name, just Lizzie like Alexander. Yeah, for now, that's where I would want people to find me before they now find me as the CEO.
Okay. So, thank you. Goodbye. Cheers.
See you.